Hello viewers, welcome to Meet TV. Still on INEC and the electoral process, on the 25th of February, the leader of IPAC gave his own thoughts concerning the electoral process and INEC. He says INEC owns Nigeria, an explanation on what really happened on the 25th of February.
Nigeria is our country, and we must do everything possible to ensure that Nigeria remains great, because we're a great country, in terms of all aspects of life, whatever you want to look at. In particular, when it comes to the issue of democracy, Nigeria, like we all know, is the pride of black race. We have to ensure that this process continues to its logical conclusion. It isn't that we are happy, like I said, with what is happening. It's not that we are in support of some of the things that Pastor Okoye is talking about, that they are doing or not doing. But the fact of the matter is that if we do not allow this process to be concluded, we may not have democracy to even talk about. What you may have is something that nobody can fathom out, what shape or form is going to be. Nigeria is too big for that. So that is why we believe also that given time, all these things will be sorted out. What I think happened to us is like what happened, I don't know which year now, the Titanic disaster that happened. You can, the amount of, press and what have you that went into the Titanic, which was supposed to be the biggest ship, the largest, ship, and then all of a sudden, on its maiden voyage, it crashed. So that's exactly what happened to INEC. But in the case of Titanic, they were able to tell you could see that, as they say, it went into there was a rock that divided the ship into, and then that's why you had the accident. INEC is here to come out to tell Nigerians, like you are saying, confidence building, trust that was there before, for Nigerians to have that trust back. If INEC had come out and said the system was hacked, this is not the first system that is being hacked in the world. The most sophisticated systems have been hacked in America, in China, in what have you. That is not something that people will say, oh, cannot happen. Perhaps people may ask, why didn't you make redundancy factors into your servers, into your communication links, so that when this one fails, another one seamlessly will take over, and you will not suffer this kind of unnecessary disaster that we are in today. So my groups with INEC is that not coming out to tell us the truth, that this is what happened. If you say somebody hacked into it, it could be hacked. There's no reason. But your conversation with Barrister did not yield anything. That, oh, we know what happened. We've taken measures to ensure it. What happened? We want to know. And how can you have a selective malfunctioning of a system?
What really happened on the 25th of February? Because there's no system and no website that cannot be hacked. If the IWF was hacked, they should come out and tell Nigerians and explain to us what really happened on that day and why there was no backup for the IWF if there be any attack on the IWF site.
Even before we introduced the technological advancement that we have today, which INEC was telling us, no beavers, no election, and what have you, which is not the case today. We had a system, isn't it? We know that system is not what we wanted to continue with. But in the face of the situation we are in today, if it has to be that, let us go on. And then when we get to the end of the process, we can now redress secretly.
Are you able to interface with INEC since the presidential election?
Yes, we're able to interface with that.
Did you tell them the home through from your own point of view?
I told them, I said, this system must have been hacked. They said, no, they don't know. We must know. We must know.
What advice did you give INEC? I mean, because if you have a concern, do you feel from your own... Because
you should tell Nigerians what exactly happened.
But from your own assessment, do you think INEC is ready for March 18?
Well, like I said, even without beavers, without IRF, we conducted an election, didn't we, in this country? Only that it wasn't what we wanted. We thought this arrangement that INEC has brought into place would now give us something that will meet the minimum requirement as far as international standard is concerned. But if we don't have that, we cannot, stop. This country is too big to be toyed with. What I'm saying is that let's go on. When we get to the end of the road, we will take, then that democracy will be there for us to discuss.
Let me bring in Dr. Hussein Abdul, who's been with us, and it's perhaps is privy to the conversation. Doc, it's good to see you. I know that I've had to sit with you severally in the run-up to the preparations of INEC, the promises that are being made, but you have heard Mr. Okoye tonight, and you probably will remember what I said at one of our meetings, that I said that my biggest fear is whether or not there might be a postponement. It has happened. I hate to be called a prophet. For a third consecutive times, election has had to be postponed. Give me your honest assessment of the process.
Thank you very much, Joe. And I had Festus pushing on some of these issues, and I think there are differences, there are variations in this postponement. And for those of us who have been involved in election observations, yes, postponement is postponement, but we know that the last two postponements we had were largely presidential elections. And so once you postpone presidential elections, it's going to affect other layers of elections. And in this particular one, there is a clear reasons why these elections will have to be postponed. I didn't agree with that. I remember even when discussing with my colleagues, particularly when INEC was already in court, trying to see whether they could get the court to review its initial decision to allow for reconfiguration of the beavers. And I knew we were having these conversations as colleagues in Yaga, and I was saying that I wasn't in support of this because I knew that it was going to significantly impact on voters' turnout. And I have several reasons why I think it was going to impact on voters' turnout. But again, INEC has no options rather than to postpone, because they were very clear the number of days INEC needs to actually do the reconfiguration of those numbers of beavers. And so if they don't have those number of days, then we have no option than to postpone this. But around what failed, whether beavers failed or what happened. I have made this very clear on the day of the elections. And I think the biggest gap in INEC is that, look, there was a time lapse in the INEC coming out to even issue the statement on what happened to the IRF. It took more than 24 hours, if I get my timing right. And I knew that from the first day, in the evening of that day, when the results were not getting uploaded on the IRF, some of us were raising these questions and saying, look, it's important for INEC to explain. Because we have interfaced with the INEC all through this period, and we had confidence in what INEC has put in place. The system, the structures in place that they put in place. Of course, we have concerns around the stress test, whether there have been adequate stress tests on the IRF itself, whether that stress test is enough. The level of tests that have been done is enough to sustain the general elections, because general elections is not Ekiti election, or is it Osun elections. So the stress test, we did raise concerns around it, but otherwise we were on the same page in terms of the capacity to actually deliver on this. But on the election day, and I think this is what sometimes we're not getting right, either the media or in the public commentary, I think the beavers worked. From our report, the beavers worked. In over 98% of our polling unit, barring some glitches here and there which were addressed, or where in some cases you have to replace the beaver, but otherwise beavers worked. What failed was the IRF. And it's important to actually make this differential. Of course, if the beaver take the photo or did the scanning of the form EC8A, the result sheet, it transmits to the IRF. If the IRF has problem, it will not receive the message. It's like sending an email, and if you have email on the other side, it's not receiving, it cannot receive. So the challenge, the problem we had was IRF. And for us, we were very deeply disappointed because the IRF, because we have also put up a viewing system for Nigerian citizens. I know, Shane, you are very much aware of this, that we thought people can actually have a very excellent interface with our electoral system, and particularly with the promises that INEC made. So I think the explanation didn't come early enough. And when it eventually came after 24 hours, it wasn't categorical. It wasn't speaking to anything. It was just saying,
yeah, Dr.
there
Abdul,
was no clear thing.
Yeah, so Dr. Abdul, my thinking now is that whatever has happened, and INEC is making promises. Now, we have another election, round of election before us, and this is on the 18th of March. If there's anything you want to say to INEC in preparation for that, because the trust quota and the integrity quota of INEC may have been hit badly by what we saw on the 25th of February. What would your word be for INEC tonight?
I actually think that one, because some of us at Versus knows this, someone who's been together for more than 30 years or so. Some of us are IT skeptics, so we don't give 100% charge on it, that nothing will happen. I actually think that INEC should have a clear communication lines, and that stimulation should actually be done, and we do that in many serious organizations. If this happens, we'll do this. If this happens, we do this. And if that happens, we act this particular manner, so that you are prepared for any eventuality and know how to react to it. And that's what I want to see happen in the next, in the gubernatorial election. Secondly, okay. let me come up very quickly, that on the IRF, look, it is very important for INEC to get this right. Mistake has happened. We don't know the details. We hope one day part of our commitment is to see what we can do to actually see INEC audit that process eventually at the end of the entire process. Election is a whole gamut of process, and therefore INEC will have to do it so that Nigerians will know one day exactly what happened on the presidential elections, or particularly with the IRF.
Great thought there, Dr. Abdul. Alhaji Abaji Sani, you and your colleagues at IPAC, the body of the political parties, going into the election of the 18th of March, what are your words for INEC?
Well, my words for INEC is for them to take advantage of this second chance they have to redeem their image, because they have the image that is not too good as it is today. And I think if it's about the technical aspect of the exercise, what INEC needed to do was to, like I said, a redundancy in the communication link. You can have Starlink. It doesn't cost too much, you know. In the remotest part of this country, you can have a that's you know, your link to the satellite, you know, which can transmit the figures for you, you know. Issue of the IRF, the server you are using, you can have redundancy server too, you know. You can have, you know, so it beats my imagination that they said they were just relying on one system, no backup, no redundancy, in such a very high level, high stake, you know, environment.
So are you guys able to give INEC a benefit of the doubt going forward?
Well, yes, we give the benefit of the doubt because, like I said, it's worse than, you know, I mean, not to continue. It's worse than whatever INEC is going to do. I'm not in any way saying what we had presidential should happen, because in the presidential, Sean, yes, it was a selective failure. The transmission, as far as the Senate and the House of Reps concerned, was going on, you know, smoothly. Why was the presidential that was not going on smoothly? Something is wrong there. Something fishy is there. We must get to the root of what happened. So what I'm saying is that, which means INEC has capacity and capability to ensure that this election we are going into now works out, you know, properly without failure.
Let's get and wrap up with Mr. Okoye on the issue that you have raised. Let's get INEC. But first and foremost, several Nigerians, and a lot of them who are commenting and sending messages, are saying, is it possible that INEC can publicly, as you are here, apologize to Nigerians? A lot of people who are angry at the commission, not only the monies that have been committed into this process, but also the trust. For some people, the trust is even bigger than money. Is it possible that INEC officially tonight apologize to millions of Nigerians that may have been disappointed?
Sissoko is not the Independent National Electoral Commission. The Independent National Electoral Commission is made up of a chairman and 12 national commissioners. And we also have 36 resident electoral commissioners and the resident electoral commissioner for the Federal Capital Territory. So the issue of apology or no apology doesn't really arise. The Commission has made it very clear that we are not happy with what happened with the result upload during the February 25th presidential and national assembly election, and that we as a responsible organization, we have taken steps to rectify some of the challenges we had, and also to make sure that going into the March 18th, 2023 governorship and state assembly elections, that such issues do not reoccur. But let me make this very clear. The conduct of election is a multi-stakeholder venture. Yes, the Commission is at the receiving end now, but the political parties have also have their own role to play in making sure that we have a good electoral process. It is some of the political parties and some of their candidates that the atmosphere at the level of the polling units inaccessible, make the atmosphere in such a way that the voters cannot really have a very good voting experience on election day. And so we need to also talk to the political parties, talk to their agents, and also make sure that they also abide by the code of conduct and the peace accords that they have signed, so that Nigerians can go to the polling units on election day without any good challenge, so that our officials can deploy without fear and without any harm befalling them. So the political parties are not all roses, but as an electoral management body, we will keep on improving with every election, and when we make mistakes, we have the honor, we have the integrity, and also we have the presence of mind to acknowledge the fact that we have made mistakes and that we are going to improve with every election.
All right, some of the words that have done magic in the past is thank you, I'm sorry. Maybe at some point when INEC finds that at a good time to say, and maybe Nigerians may be able to accept it. But thank you so much indeed.
So viewers, I want to get your thoughts concerning this. Drop your comment down in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on your notifications so you can get more updates as we drop them.